Welcome back to the Smugsy Show. I'm Smugsy, your host, identifying as the Barstool Cougar. Every Wednesday, you can meet me here. We'll talk about important things and important people. A lot of exciting news about the show this week. The main event is a letter from Sig Chester, the investor. He has a plan to take Smugciggys public using an Asian fusion SPAC. That sounds very exciting. You're going to enjoy his letter. But first, a word to Erika Nardini, Barstool Sports CEO, and the tokens. A good fucking idea I had after Erika's podcast this week about Clubhouse and her amazing interview with Lori Locust was a Clubhouse, an investment club on Clubhouse, a Cougar Investment Club for Barstool fans, women who love dogs and stocks and serendipity. We could have rules, a minimum investment of, say, your next government stimulus check or $1,000, whichever's more. It would be like multitasking at its very best. Gambling, socializing, making a little money, learning our way around the market as a team, possibly losing our shirts in an orgy of stock selling. There might not be a lot of likes, but there's plenty of love. Barstool Investment Club on Clubhouse. Could be the Cougar Club or the Token Club. Either way, it will create FOMO. Erika, get back to me. I hope you say, fuck yeah, and we go for it. Other news. Could be a coincidence, but minutes after Kirk Minihane shouted out the Smugsy Show on his show, our social media stats surged and the Smugsy Show was purchased by Syndicate Media. This is known in the business as the Kirk Minihane dump and pump. Yeah, he said on Friday about me, let's see, I wrote it down. It's like she's a fucking idiot, hideous human being. And it was like minutes later we got the call from Syndicate Media. So Kirk Minihane, thank you for your support of women in the Barstool space, especially, really old women. We couldn't do without you. And I'm excited to join Syndicate Media. I think it's time to diversify the Smugsy Show audience. According to YouTube, 100% of fans are men, and most of them from Russia. Now, cozy bears, hunting cougars, classic old school. It's exciting, but I'm ready for something a little bit more up to date, a little more modern day excitement, like the stock market and SPACs. And that leads to this week's letter from Sig Chester. It arrived today. I'll share it with you. Soon you can find Sig Chester's letters in Smugsy Studio on the new website, syndicatemedia.net. Here's Sig Chester's letter. Dear Smugsy, I was very happy to get your note expressing interest in partnering with me to take Smugciggys public via my SPAC. I think this can be a real home run. But first, a few words about my background, which isn't really available online. I like to keep a low profile. Me too. I'm in my early 40s and have worked in finance for the last 20 years. In that time, I've worked for 15 different firms, averaging about 16 months each. These firms ranged from traditional bulge bracket banks to established private equity funds to venture capital firms to family offices. The diversity of firms and relatively rapid turnover were all by design. I wanted to learn as much as possible as fast as I could. 16 months per firm seemed about optimal. When I turned 40, I decided it was time to go alone. I'm very passionate about making money. That's about all I care about. Well, we're certainly passionate here on the Smugsy Show. Sig goes on, the lead investors for my SPAC are members of a wealthy family located in Asia. They're looking for offshore opportunities. At the appropriate time, I should be able to disclose their identity. My original pitch to them was to invest in transportation and hospitality businesses, but since COVID has decimated those industries, I've had to pivot. I came across you and your Smugciggys product by happenstance through a random Google search for cougars and cannabis. I sent my investors a link to your show, and they are intrigued by both you, your product, and your distinctive persona. They may want to meet you, and ironically, will probably want to run a background check on you. I would like to strike while the iron is hot and nail down my investors' commitments. To do that, we'll need to prepare a business plan and projections for Smugciggys ASAP. We can be as creative as we like. I don't think my investors will be very focused on actual profitability or even viability. We just need to generate a good, exciting story that will capture their imaginations and be consistent with their public profiles. They may also want distribution and manufacturing rights outside the United States, but we can address that later. If we can hook the investors, the story and business plan would then be laid out in a prospectus, and we would negotiate the acquisition of Smugciggys. Unfortunately, we'll need to hire lawyers to help with all of this. They don't need to be very good, just cheap, and ideally willing to postpone payment until a successful deal is completed. Do you know any of those sorts of lawyers? Please let me know your thoughts and when you'd be available for a kickoff Zoom meeting. I'm available 24/7. And look forward to working with you, Sig Chester. Well, my thoughts. Seeing what happened to our friends the ants in today's paper and their IPO, I'm happy too that Sig Chester stumbled by happenstance across Smugciggys while searching for specs for his SPAC. Sig Chester, on paper anyways, appears to be the perfect investor. And number two, coming up, manufacturing a creative business plan sounds easy enough. I'll have my graphic artist do up a rose-colored report with mint-colored $ embroidered around our beautiful Smugciggys logo. Easy. And as for the origin story of Smugciggys, well, that's a piece of cake too. It's the story of Smugciggys is the American story. It's a story of perseverance and opportunity. Get high and do good with Smugciggys. It's really that simple. It's about getting rich by enriching others with a quality product made right here in the United States. Sleek and elegant ciggies made with organic cannabis rolled in delicate sheafs of locally sourced paper in indigo and marigold packs. Okay, now close your eyes just for a minute. Just imagine the hulk of a paper mill in northern New England that was plundered by a hedge fund and abandoned at the very moment that there was a pandemic and a surge in the demand for high-quality cannabis products. And now imagine Smugciggy and Smugsy. Smugsy thinks, why not purchase the paper mill and using a secret recipe from Paris, manufacture designer rolling papers that can serve as a vessel for delicious and healthy, organically grown cannabis from our farmers right down the road. You know what it's like now. You go into a store, they have blunts, they call them blunts for sale. It's like smoking out of a tuba. Big and smelly and gluttonous. It's like a Big Mac or a bucket of chicken or a sloppy Joe. Smugciggys is different. It's like a fantasy. It's a dream. Instead of a tuba, it's hygge. Yeah, hygge. The Scandinavian word for coziness and contentment, feelings you get after, having a hot cocoa with a friend or enjoying a Smugciggys. Instead of a tuba, a beautiful box of hygge, lined with scented wax, paper, and foil, and emblazoned with the beautiful Smugciggys logo. the moral of the Smug Ciggy story is that size and looks matter, and what's inside counts. Having a pack of Smugciggys in your pocket will be like having money in the bank and the latest iPhone. Comfort and clout, that's what we're about. Wholesome elegance. So, let's see, to Sig Chester, I will write, Dear Sig, a discreet Asian family, super SPAC, sounds like Smugciggy's perfect match, and hooking investors thrilling and a bit dangerous. Our fans will love it. I will produce and send you a rose-colored business plan. Insert any fashionable financial projections you see fit. Write with any questions about our story or details you can leak about our secret SPAC and your adventure for content. Regrettably, I know no bad lawyers who are cheap. Good luck, and thank you for your service. Yours sincerely, Smugsy. So, we'll see what happens. Will Erika Nardini get back to the show about our good fucking idea, okay? The investment club on Clubhouse? I hope so. Will syndicatemedia.net launch the Smugsy studio? I think so. Will Sig Chester write back? I have a feeling he will. Stay tuned. For now, this is Smugsy signing off. You can follow me on Twitter at SmugsyGirl. Subscribe to this show. Leave a comment. Till next week, take care.